Welcome to Arcade Couch, the best place to chill with your friends and get your gaming goodness every Saturday at 6 a.m. Australian time. My name's Dylan Blight, and joining me, Ashley Hobley.
Yeah? Excited to be here, Dylan, on this episode of Arcade Couch.
I think we'll start that again. There was so much delay. I was like...
That's the joke!
Oh. Wow.
What a week.
Wow. You know what? Whatever. Whatever, honestly. That's the joke you was laughing about before we started recording?
Yep.
You're like, I'll sit there and not say anything, and then I'll be like, it was a delay, get it? Because delays?
Yeah. Delays.
Wow. I can't believe you. It's like the worst fucking dad joke. I was like,
yeah, they're pretty great.
He didn't hear me do the intro. He's just sitting there. All right. Yeah, what a good start to this week's episode, but that's fine because it's been a bit of a week anyway. Today on the show,
we need to lengthen this episode out a bit. So.
Yeah, we do somewhat because, so today on the show, not much has happened all week, to be completely honest. All the games released on Friday, the day we're recording this, and of course this will come out in, 10 hours?
Couple hours.
Couple hours, basically, by the time I'm done recording and stuff. So, and not much has happened, and all the games dropped today. We've played a couple of them, so we can talk about that. But news-wise, look, put it this way. Platinum Explosion, our other PlayStation podcast. Some weeks, other gaming podcast, PlayStation podcast. I've never not had news for that. There's some weeks struggled, sure. There's never been a week where I'm like, there's literally no news. I'm like, I can always scrounge up something, you know? And this is the problem with doing weekly shows reliant on stuff news, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's kind of struggle there. Arcade Couch, in the year that we've done this show now, I've never literally had nothing. And by that I mean so in between the episodes throughout the week, as stories come across my figurative desk, you know, I file them away, and then when it comes to the day of recording, I go through that file and I pick out what things I want for the show. This week, I literally opened it up and was like, it is empty until the delays happened, basically. I cannot believe how quiet this week has kind of been until, obviously, today. Yesterday, I suppose,
wow.
where basically everything happened.
To be fair, there was 2 huge games being released this week, so it makes sense that nobody wanted to be in that news cycle with those 2 massive, the only 2 games coming out this week.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm talking about Outer Worlds.
Yeah, Outer Wilds. Yeah,
Call of Duty.
Okay, yeah.
Just to clarify, so no one mistakes it for anything else that didn't come out this week.
We'll talk about some games, that's for sure. Anyway, yeah, so that's it. I'm honestly voting in the time that we've been doing Explosion Network, or proper Explosion Network time. I'd say we're at 2 years. Say it's 2 years, right? This is honestly the quietest news week I think I've seen in 2 years.
Yeah,
IMO.
It's been pretty dead.
It's honestly crazy. But let's jump into what we do have. So Fri-Delay is what I'm calling Friday today. See what I did there? Yeah, got him. So firstly, Last of Us Part 2, delayed until May 2020, announced this morning. This news comes directly from developer Naughty Dog's own Neil Druckmann, who explained in a news blog on PS Blog, saying, wrote up a whole thing, but the most important part, he said, during the last few weeks, as we were closing out sections of the game, we realized we simply didn't have enough time to bring the entire game up to a level of polish we would call Naughty Dog quality. At this point, we were faced with 2 options: compromise parts of the game or get more time. We went with the later, and this new release date allows us to finish everything on a level of satisfaction while also reducing stress on the team. And yeah, so May 29th, 2020 is the new release date, which it's a little bit over a month, but you know, it's basically they pushed it by a month, and everyone was upset sort of on the internet. I gotta say, I did see some people, you know, like all sad reacts and all this sort of stuff with news, but at the majority of what I saw was actually people just being like, No problem. Do what you gotta do. Like I saw a couple shitty Game Bros, but for the most part, I was pretty pleased with the overall comment section interaction on this delay. I've got to be honest. Which is good because usually I know sometimes games get delayed and it's all like, oh, why'd you announce the release date? Do it anyway. As far as I'm concerned, I heavily focused on that last line, reducing stress on the team, and I'm going to say they delayed it simply so they don't have to go into full-on crunch mode to reach the finish line, because I think that over the last year, developers are just under a lot more scrutiny and also a lot more aware of working to make better workplaces, and knowing that if they do not work to make better workplaces, we're now in a world where more than a few people are willing to call out big and small companies on their shit, you know. So yeah, I think that's a good thing. Do you have any other thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean it was really cool to see all the positiveness around the delays, but I think it's just a combination of so many games being out and the track history of delays being good for games. Probably as well as a certain game that came out this week that should have been delayed, that came out. I'm talking about WWE 2K20.
Oh, right. I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, yeah, I forgot that came out. Yeah, that game's a mess. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's a mess.
I actually think, and I haven't played it, so take what I'm saying with grain of salt. All I've seen is the videos and the GIFs and, you know, everything going around the internet, obviously. But
yeah,
I think that is the most buggy looking game that has been released in quite some time. More buggy than Fallout 76, more buggy and half cooked than like stuff that people like to complain about, like Anthem. Exactly. All of that stuff, I think WWE 2K20 makes those things look good. That's how buggy it looks to me.
I have never seen a iterative game, like an annualized title, look worse
than the one
previous
before.
Year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
so I don't know what they did. Did they accidentally delete the code from last year and the fuck? I don't know. Yeah, it's that's a weird one. But yeah, May, that's an interesting point. It comes out like it's kind of by itself at the moment in the release schedule. 2 weeks after Marvel's Avengers, which is the only other thing.
Yeah,
currently set in stone.
It's very hectic first 6 months anyway, and there's going to be stuff coming out that we don't know about. There'll probably be some Ubisoft stuff coming out in that time point, potentially, which we'll get into in a second. There may be some really big indie games yet announced. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Yeah. I feel like it's just going to be hectic no matter where they put it. So people are going to play it that want to play it anyway. So whatever.
I will say they announced that Persona 5 Scramble, the Phantom Strikers, is coming out on February 20th, the same day as Last of Us. And then suddenly, 2 days later, Last of Us 2 moves.
That's only Japan's release date, though.
Just conspiracy.
I mean, if it was worldwide, I might take your conspiracy to court here, but... next story I want to read about is from GamesIndustry.Biz. Ubisoft delays Watch Dogs Legion, Gods and Monsters, Rainbow Six Quarantine. That's right. So a total of
everything.
All of their games basically. But on Friday, Fri-Delay, 4 games total was delayed in one day. I woke up this morning, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you know, like it's crazy. The article reads, today Ubisoft announced that it will drastically shift its plans for the remainder of the fiscal year and the next, delaying 3 major titles and adjusting its financial targets for 2019 to 2020 to compensate. The company now expects 2019 to 2020 full year net bookings of approximately 1.4 billion, down from target around 2.2 billion, and operating income between 20 million to 50 million, down from target operating income of 480 million. One of the main reasons for this delay of 3 major titles planned for this year: Gods and Monsters, Rainbow Six Quarantine, and Rainbow Dogs. Watch Dogs Legion. All 3 are now planned for fiscal year 2020 to 2021 in the Q2 to Q3 window, which is July 2020 to December 2020, and will additionally be optimized, quote unquote, for the next generation of consoles in some way. If we just want to pause there for 1 second. So basically, if any of those games, because the release date window is from July to December, if any of those games, I at this stage, unless I start hearing signs and other things that point in a different direction, at this stage, I would put my money on Watch Dogs Legion being releasing very close to the next gen consoles. IMO.
Yeah, probably.
I think if it's not releasing, like, let's say that the next gen consoles are releasing like November-ish, right? I could see Watch Dogs Legion being one of those games that releases like 2-3 weeks before, and then the PS5 and whatever version will be day and date, obviously, of release. I could see that being a thing. It's going to be one of those games, I think, in the long run.
Well, now.
Hey?
I mean, if it's been delayed, then it's definitely going to be.
Yeah, well,
you would think.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to drop July.
No.
You wouldn't think.
It'd be a terrible time for it to release. You gonna drop a Watch Dogs game in July? Watch Dogs ain't a July game. You know what I mean? The only thing
I remember 2 was like November or December, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
it was like late in that year.
The only thing I'm going to say of this is that Watch Dogs, the first game, was heavily kind of criticized for like they were showing off basically the next gen console version of it before the next gen consoles were originally revealed at E3, right? And then we didn't know that at the time. We're like, this game looks hectic. This game looks great. And then they're like, well, it's a next gen game, and we didn't know that time. So it was like people were like, well, are they lying to us because it didn't, not coming to PS3, all this sort of stuff. Now it does make me wonder if it could end up being one of those games that's like, yeah, on the PS5 version and Project Scarlet version and PC version, you can control all of the characters in the game. On the PS4 version, scale down a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's something that may end up happening. Like, scale it down a little bit. We can't handle it.
Yeah, maybe like the systems aren't as thorough as in the PS5 version, but I think you'll still get the full experience. It's not like Shadows of Mordor, where they cut out the entire Nemesis system.
The first, that was shocking. The first game that ever got me on a generational gap was when I was a lot younger and I wasn't like in the industry, quote unquote in the industry as I am now, where I keep up with the news and obviously I'm aware of things, was that when I was way younger, I got PS3 was out. PS3 had been out for 6 months towards a year, right? And I picked up Tony Hawk's, I can't remember what it's called. It was whatever one that was released like a launch window of PS3. Anyway, one of the main things I wanted to do in that game was like they were like this huge open area and you can do this. You can do like get off your board and like go there. And I picked up the PS2 version and all of the stuff that I was excited about from the trailers, not in the game. Wasn't in the game. I played through the game, got to the end, credits started rolling, and all the stuff I was excited about playing.
This is open world.
Yeah, it wasn't in there. It was just like a kind of sandboxy type thing or whatever. It was like underground game, but it was missing all the stuff I was excited about. So that's whenever I think about getting like fucked on a generational gap, I always think about that because that was a time when I didn't know better. Like the trailers and stuff literally got me. I watched the trailers, I went, this looks cool. And I just brought it on PS2 expecting I'd get the same experience and I did not know. So yeah, I always fall back on that as a kind of thing. Article continues here of major release dates, blah blah blah. No, I missed part here. 2 other AAA games are various other small titles, including Roller Champions, will also launch next year. Roller Champions, I saw earlier, I don't have the tweet in front of me, but they did tweet out from an official account saying that they're going to start having test things back up from like mid next year and all this sort of stuff. I'm like, holy fuck, they're going to be testing that game for quite some time. I really thought, considering they did that beta thingy at E3 time, that the game would have been out like at least in early access or something like early. But
no, it could go early access. It could just be in beta forever.
Yeah, well, Fortnite is, so what difference does it make?
Yeah.
So Skull and Bones is currently planned for 2021 to 2022 fiscal year, with Ubisoft saying in a conference call today that the game has huge potential to stay for the long term. Yeah, that game's like, well, they delayed it,
stay in development for the long term.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Beyond Good and Evil 2 has not been given a specific window. I think at this stage we can call Beyond Good and Evil 2 as, well, no, it's going to come. I think that's a next-gen game. I think at this stage it's very safe to say, obviously. This is the thing as we start approaching next year, right? We're about to enter November. So the more we start talking about games now, I think it gets a lot easier to be like, that's a next-gen game. That's a next-gen game. That's a next-gen game. That one probably will release like March or April or something. You know what I mean? You can kind of pick them. But it's like, are we going to get a random release date for Beyond Good and Evil 2 and it's going to drop in the middle of next year prior to the next-gen consoles? No, I don't think so. I think that's going to be a next-gen game. I think that's an easy call. Another reason for the lowered full-year targets is that Ghost Recon Breakpoint and to the lesser extent Tom Clancy's The Division 2 did not meet sales expectations. Gilmont said that while Breakpoint appeared on track in previews, critical reception and launch sales were, quote, very disappointing. Then he outlined several reasons why the title may have suffered, including the challenge of creating a sequel to a live multiplayer game, players rejecting, quote, changes in formula from one series entry to another, and Ghost Recon Breakpoint not launching with, quote, enough differentiation factors. Though not mentioned by Ubisoft, both Tom Clancy's Division 2 and Ghost Recon Breakpoint launched on Epic Games Store and Uplay on PC as the first two major Ubisoft releases to skip Steam in favor of the rival storefront. I would like to say that I don't think any of that has any factor in Breakpoint's unsuccessful launch. I think obviously the game was buggy and problems.
Did Division 2 launch on Epic Games Store?
Yeah.
Like initially?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't think it was out that long ago.
Yeah, like start of the year. It was around the.
Oh yeah.
It was like right. It was one of the first. It was one of the first one. Yeah.
Game Awards. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's been a long year.
It's been quite an interesting year. And yeah, so we got delays at the wazoo there, and Ubisoft. Yeah, I think the interesting thing there is obviously we covered this on Arcade Couch or Plat. I honestly don't remember, but when they Ubisoft put out their original thing, like outlining what games they had coming for the next fiscal year and stuff like that, and there's still 2 AAA titles on their report that are supposed to release somewhat early next year, and I think everyone's making the same sort of assumption, and I think it's a safe one, which is that both of those unnamed AAA games are probably Assassin's Creed and Far Cry. I think that's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah.
You could be like, oh, but surely Far Cry, they would announce it by now if it's going to release within the next 6 months. No, remember last year they announced Far Cry whatchamacallit at the Game Awards.
Yeah, but that wasn't like a full title unless they're going to do another spin-off one again.
But still, I think you can just announce Far Cry at the Game Awards or something again. I think you can get. They don't need 6 months of press, hype build up for it. It's like, what is it? It's more Far Cry. All right, the people who like that are going to buy it. Good.
Yeah, that's true.
Move on. Assassin's Creed would be the weirder one because I think that's more of an E3 announce game. You know what I mean? But it's like if they've got 2 unannounced AAA games and they've delayed all these other ones that people are excited for, like Watch Dogs and stuff. It's like what fills the void there? It's very Far Cry, Assassin's Creed. What else? They don't have anything else that we're aware of. AAA, not AA or whatever you want to consider it. Like I think you'd call that
Splinter Cell.
No, they ain't gonna have. You ain't gonna get a Splinter Cell game announced. Imagine that. I mean,
I'm just saying that could be.
It could be a thing, but
AAA.
That would be fucking nuts. No, that would be a weird way to end this generation, kind of. I guess like if they announced a Splinter Cell at like the Game Awards or something, and then it released in like March. It'd be odd, but whatever.
Yeah.
All right, Bethesda. Let's get into it.
Oh god.
So Bethesda has revealed a subscription service for Fallout 76 that has the internet turning heads of confusion, Australian wallets spewing at the price. Fallout First will give you access to a private server for you and up to 7 friends to build and play free of other players' trouble, and limited scrap box containing an extra survival tent, Atmos per month, exclusive outfits and emotes. Adam, sorry. And the price in Australian dollars is $22.95 a month or $179.95 doozy a year. So, and the main thing, let's get the full story here before we kind of discuss it. So this comes out the other day. What day was it? Yesterday, right? Yes. This popped out. Nuts, right? Everyone's kind of like, what the fuck is going on here? The main reason, obviously, people would be buying this, paying 180 Australian dollars a year, would be for access to the private worlds and the scrap box. Like they're the 2 highest things. Forbes drops an article earlier this morning. Fallout 76's premium private servers are not private. Its scrap box is deleting scrap. So good. The games industry is still trying to wrap its collective head around the sheer hilarious audacity of Bethesda charging, they've got the American prices here, but blah, blah, blah a month for a premium Fallout 76 subscription service. Fallout First Fallout 76 was a notoriously broken game at launch, but over time fixed itself and added content until it created a nice little niche community. A nice little niche community that Bethesda would now like more money from. I knew that at least some segment of the population, however small, would indeed sign up for Fallout first, as again, some people are really into 76 now, but many of them are already regretting doing so. There have been some issues with the promised exclusive content in this premium subscription, namely the introduction of private servers and unlimited scrapbox to hold your junk. So private servers, there are a few issues cropping up here. Fallout First players are finding that a newly created world, that's in quotes, newly created by the way, they might be heading into, it's not actually new at all. Players are reporting dead NPCs and looted areas when they get there, implying that these are not actually new instances, but instead reused old instances masquerading as brand new private worlds. The private aspect is up for debate too. Players with big friends lists, i.e. merchants who sell goods to sell to players goods in the game, are finding that they can't prevent people from joining their private servers where they just want to relax and play them by themselves or with a few friends without some sort of invisible mode other players can see your instance and join it. The Scrapbox. If you're looking forward to the unlimited storage of scrap in Fallout 76 with the new Scrapbox perk of Fallout First, you definitely don't want to be using it just yet. Multiple players are reporting that they have deposited hundreds of units of scrap into these new boxes, only to find that the box has eaten it. The scrap disappears from the instance and can't be found again from relogging or anything. It's just gone. Players are not amused at the fact that they have now paid for the privilege of losing all of their materials, and so far there doesn't seem to be any way to recover any of this. So do not use these boxes until there's a clear fix for this. Not that more than like 2 of you reading this are going to subscribe to Fallout First, but still. I could not believe how much of a meme it plays into that Bethesda releases a overpriced subscription thing, and then of course, it releases broken. Like they can't even get this right. Are you fucking kidding me?
I mean,
yeah. What are your thoughts on this whole thing?
It's not good. It's just shit all around. It just feels predatory and just weird. You've got I can understand them needing money to continue development on the game because obviously they're not getting enough money back to be able to.
Yeah, I'll definitely put an asterisk on that and say that if you think about the fact that most places were selling Fallout 76 for like half price day after release because it was getting such bad press, or people were picking up pre-owned, like they definitely weren't making much money off the copies of this game that have been sold so far. Like that, I think that's a fact at this point.
And then I assume the free-to-play element or the in-game currency is not doing that great. No. Obviously, they've tried to come up with something to get some revenue back with this subscription service, which is, again, overpriced. I mean, I don't think it's a fair thing to compare it to, it's more than Disney Plus is going to be, and you're going to get the entire Disney Plus catalog, or, it's more than Game Pass, or whatever. But it does seem like a lot of money for not a whole lot.
As I wrote in my news story for it on the website, it's nearly $200. It's literally a third of what you would need to save for a next gen console next year, basically. You know, like when you start putting it into perspective at some point, it's like, do you want to spend nearly that much next year when you could be saving that to buy your PS5 or your Project Scarlet or whatever next year? You know what I mean? Unless you're rich and you give zero fucks, like a little bit of money consciousness going on. But yeah, I understand that they want money. I get it. I understand that the game came out, they probably didn't do very well. They started like picking up steam, and as the Forbes article mentions, like they started picking up a little bit of a community. That's the thing. As much as people like to shit on Fallout 76 and whatever, and there's a broken game, blah 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 blah. People love Fallout. People like playing Fallout 76. Good for them. Whatever. There was people cosplaying as Fallout people at PAX this year, and it was one of those things. I guarantee if I asked them, like, do you play Fallout 76? I'm pretty sure they would have been like, yeah, love it, play it all the time. But hardcore Fallout fans love their Fallout. So yeah, it does seem very predatory at all, because the subscription just is not worth it. It's not good. The idea of selling private servers, I don't think that's bad per se. I think if they want to sell private servers, you got to do it right. This is the thing. They're charging people this much money and they're not even doing it right. It's not even private servers. If they want to sell private servers, on its own, you know what I mean, like a couple bucks a month or whatever, and that's its own thing, I think that wouldn't be a bad idea because people would probably be into that. And I think you just set that up as its own thing.
Assuming they work.
Assuming they work, they have to work, or else in this scenario, I'm saying that they work. And you set it up and you sell people private servers for a couple bucks and you leave that as its own thing. You don't make that some part of some subscription service. Now, if they were looking to make a subscription service to make a couple extra bucks, a lot of extra bucks really, then it really needed to be good. And what they're offering here is not good. This seems like a very rushed, put together, last resort to try and make some quick bucks before the end of the year. You know what I mean? This seems like board appeasing shit. Especially, and it's really weird timing too because they just delayed the Wastelanders 3 expansion, which is the one that everyone's waiting on.
Introduce NPCs.
Probably get heaps of people back into the game to try it out again because it'll turn it into the game that a lot of people wanted it to be upon release. Hopefully, that's what we're kind of assuming. I know personally, I would be keen to jump back in and give it a go when that expansion drops. You probably would be too, wouldn't you? When the Wastelanders,
yeah, sure,
yeah. I mean, they're in NPCs, whatever. It's like I'll give it a go. Let's see what it's like. But that got delayed. And everyone's like, oh, that sucks, but I guess we'll wait. And then they're like, well, how about you give us $180 Australian and we will fuck you in the ass. Like that. It's not good. There's no like positive spin on this story at all. You know what I mean? It just really does seem like some last second resort to appease some people living up in suits, you know, high above. Like they were like, you haven't made this much money, you got to make some more money before the end of the year, before the end of the physical year, whatever it is. And they were like, well, what can we do?
Hey, you need to make some money, otherwise we're shutting this down.
Well, potentially, yeah. So what do they come up with this? They rush it, and then also seems like they put it together in like a month. Like if none of it's even working, they're selling shit that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Even if you're the most hardcore Fallout fan, I would really like to hear someone try and like defend this. You know what I mean? I don't see how you can defend something that's broken. Like, oh, yeah. Look, here's the thing. If all of this worked and I was on here and I'm like, I think this is overpriced, whatever, but I guess if people want to pay for it, good for you. I think it's a waste of money. But then if there's people over here who are like, look, to be honest, Dylan, as someone who plays Fallout 76 all the time, I think 180 Australian dollars is worth it to me because the private world is great for me and my friends because it's the only game we play, blah, blah. You know, if people were like that and they were willing to play it and they felt like they weren't wasting money, I'd be like, I get, like, good for you, I guess. But the thing is, it's not working. They're not working, so it's like you can't argue that. So,
yeah.
It's fucked. It's weird.
Two things. So apparently someone got the domain for Fallout First.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah,
and yes, pretty much just redid the press release of Fallout First, but using some creative liberties and creative word choices.
Yeah, falloutfirst.com. Go look it up.
Good. Yeah, good read. And then, do you think Bethesda's lost all goodwill? Because back in the day, Bethesda could release Skyrim or Oblivion with, oh, it's a bit buggy, oh, but it's funny, oh, it's part of the charm of Bethesda. Is that all gone now?
I think they're on a very seesaw relationship where something bad happens, people like it dips very fast, you know, to the hate train. But if they put out something good, it dips very fast to the other end, and everyone's like, they're back, like, woo, you know what I mean? Like, and you kind of see that every time a game releases because. If they put out something like Wolfenstein, which, like, as far as I'm concerned, Wolfenstein 2, everyone loved that for the most part. Positive press, right? Great. Good on you. Pull out Fallout 76, bad press. Not good. Even though we don't care about it, everything they're doing with ESO, that's good press. Niche good press. It's not a big enough market, you know what I mean? It's like not mainstream, but that's still like towards their good press side over there. They come out at E3 and they announced Spooky, whatever that game was called. That was good press, right?
Ghostworks, Tokyo, Ghostwire or something?
Whatever it was. That was good press. Then you get the narrative, the lead or whatever she was leaves. Bad press. What has Bethesda done? You know what I mean? Like it's kind of it's ebbs and flows constantly with Bethesda at the moment. I just feel like they need to, like, I don't know, take a year off. I honestly don't know. Like the other story that I didn't include in here, but they have brought up a mobile. They've brought a studio this week. I don't have it in front of me. So I'm sorry, but they brought a mobile studio that was announced today. That to help them build more mobile games, which to me just simply read as they're still trying to cover money tracks, I guess, in some ways or another, and they've brought a studio to help build mobile games, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see by E3 next year that studio is putting out a bunch of free-to-play microtransaction filled games. You know what I mean? Like I honestly,
so Polygon.com, Bethesda Softworks has acquired mobile game developer Alpha Dogs Games, according to a press release. We're impressed by the team at Alpha Dogs' commitment to quality and depth of experience in mobile, Todd Vaughn said in a statement. We're excited to have them join Bethesda family. Alpha Dog is known for real-time strategy game Monstro City Rampage and action role-playing game Wraithborn, both of which are available on Apple and Android devices via the App Store and Google Play. Yeah. So, I mean, it makes sense. Fallout Shelter was obviously a huge success for them. I think Blades is probably still doing reasonably well. I think there's still a reasonable fan base that's into that. They've got that Commander Keen game coming out.
Woo.
You know?
Yeah. So
maybe
it's like
that seems like an Apple Arcade game, but anyway.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's going to be microtransaction. This is the thing. I think this is a
microtransaction out of hell.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to put it out there now, and I can't, I can't officially say what's going to happen with that studio, but I'm reading from what they've done, Bethesda's done so far for their mobile games. They're looking to make games filled with microtransactions and stuff to make money, because Fallout Shelter made them a fuck ton of money. Now, I will say that was their first foray into mobile games, and Fallout Shelter as a game I think is pretty good, and the microtransactions weren't too
predatory.
They weren't too predatory. You play that game a lot slower and not spend money, and then the people who wanted to fucking speed up, they could spend a couple of bucks to get this there, whatever. Blades is a lot more predatory. Commander Keen, I'm just based on that, I'm going to say is going to be predatory as well. And then if they're buying up this mobile developer now, here's the thing: if they come out in a year from now and they're like, "Hey, we're putting out this game, it's another microtransaction filled shit, whatever," I do definitely feel like a year from now, a year into, or 6 months from now, I guess, if they announce something that soon, in a world where Apple Arcade's kicking along and that's kind of setting the standard for quality mobile games and whatever, people are going to get sick of it. People aren't. I think the world's going to kind of change with the mobile games in the future, and they'll be like, "Hey, it's another Elder Scrolls game where you got to pay $10 per thing to spin a roll of dice and flame a dragon up the bum and fucking whatever." People will be like, "No, I got Apple Arcade. It's $7 a month or whatever. I'm good. Like, I'm pretty set." So yeah, I think that studio acquisition is a bit weird, and I think Bethesda's in a really kind of awkward position because this is just, it's nothing but bad press. Like I don't feel like there's any section of the internet that's like, this is good. Except
the ESO people, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it's like they're over in their own like kind of corner. It's like even the people that make that game are in their own corner. Like they stay away from the other the other teams and stuff.
Yeah, they're not involved. They just get asked to come out and shoot one video once a year for E3.
Exactly.
And
that's it. All right, let's talk about what we've been playing this week. So, which will be the main kind of thing we're going to do here. So, I'm going to quickly go over one game, and then we'll dive into the big stuff, which is I put an hour or two into Spin Rhythm last night. I got sent an early access code like 2 weeks ago. I only just got around to it though. It's been hectic. It's been hectic time. Nonetheless, Spin Rhythm was at PAX last year, where I did not play it because it was constantly so busy. But I finally got to play it, so that's good. So the game, the way they had it set up at PAX, and the reason I would have loved to play it there, is that they had it set up there with a actual like DJ deck thing. Because the game is, the easiest example is to say it's like DJ Hero, except it's not. Like it's the closest comparison, but at the same time, as someone who played a lot of DJ Hero, and I really like DJ Hero, and DJ Hero 2, great games. It's the closest comparison, yet it's not at all. So we'll just stick that into your mind. I'm not playing this game with a DJ deck thing because I don't own one. However, you can plug in any USB DJ controller to your computer, and then it'll just work. Like you can figure it to work. So people that own them are going to have fun with this. But I'll put it this way. I was enjoying playing it so much, I did Google how much it would cost to buy a cheap one. And I can get a cheap one for like $90. Now, I don't have $90 I want to throw around currently, but like I now know that...
Think of all the future theme music you could...
Yeah. I now know in the back of my head that I could find one for around $90 if I ever wanted to upgrade my spin rhythm game, which at the same time, like when you think about how much Guitar Hero controllers and all that sort of stuff costs, like $90 is actually not too bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. It's not an actual controller. That's like one you can actually
I could do other stuff with it. So it's like, whatever. Well, not that I'll fucking turn it DJ. Anyway, so the game where I'm playing, you can play the game with mouse. I tried playing it with the mouse. I didn't like it with the mouse. So what I did is I plugged in the old Xbox controller, and that's how I played it, and I was having a lot of fun that way. So there's only two colors, and they come down it's got a thing in front of you, the board where the notes are coming, if you want to call them notes, right? And there's blue and there's red. And using the left analog stick, you can kind of you move the spin part, I guess is what you would want to call it, because you can just rotate it forever. And there's only two colors there, and it just rotates colors. So it goes red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, consistently around the board. And then the main dotted colors that come up on the board, you don't have to press anything. So it's like red, red, red. All you do is slightly move and guide. And if it switches to blue, you just move it left or right. So then all of a sudden the blue note is going to be hitting it. So you're just kind of lining up these two colors. When the more solid ones come up on the board, then you get into tap, tap, tap. When there's one that's come up with like a guiding key, that's when you tap and hold and then guide it along. And that's kind of it. And another thing thrown in is there's times where it comes up where there's like a giant arrow thing, and that means you spin the board. So when it comes to those parts, you press hard left or right on your controller, and it'll spin it around and do it that way. So it's kind of course, like all these sorts of games, it's kind of hard to explain the ability. It's very much like if you watch a video or something, probably to be better explain it that way. I'm hoping to play a little bit more and get up an article kind of explaining it all next week, and I'll upload some video on that as well, of course. So, but anyway, played for all the songs, having a great time. Jumped into hard mode where they add an extra button, like an extra beat. You've got to press on top of all that, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is really hard. Yet I'm having a lot of fun playing it at the same time. And I will say, as a game that obviously would be a lot cooler to play with an actual like spin deck thing, because that would feel more fun and like thematic, and it wouldn't be hard. So if you had a deck, so if you picture like a DJ deck type thing, it would simply just be like spinning it left or right, and then it has to, because I looked up what type you have to get for it. It has to be like a DJ deck where you're able to press it in, because that's how you tap the notes. So you just spin left or right on the deck, and then you just tap it in, and then when you play hard mode and you have to press the one extra button, you could just assign it to literally any other button on the controller. So really it's only two buttons, and then you're just spinning. It's very, very simple. I think they actually they were trying to bring it to Switch next year as well. So, which it would work the same, it's just controller. I didn't like it with mouse because it was just it just felt weird. Whereas at least with an analog stick, it feels like you're like left, right, left, right. I'm spinning something kind of. It's not spinning, but at least I'm moving something. And that's my most positive thing for this so far with my short amount of time with it. Few hours or whatever it was, 2 hours. Is that playing with a controller feels really good. I was having a great time, heaps of fun. I would have sat there and kept playing more. I'm keen to go back and play more, but it doesn't feel like a bad experience without an actual DJ controller. It definitely feels like fun. The game is currently in early access. I had some visual bugs happening, but it was like whatever. And it's got, I don't know exactly actually off the top of my head. It seems like somewhere between 15 to 20 songs, and I think they're going to add more, and adding custom song making and all this sort of stuff. And because it's on PC, of course, people start fucking adding in all their own songs eventually. I'm sure will happen. And yeah, so I know it was huge at PAX last year, because it was always, every time I walked past it, it was just full. It was that game, like every time I went past the PAX Rising, PAX Indie Showcase thing or whatever. Yeah, Indie Showcase. Every time I walked past it was like, this thing is just packed every single time.
And I think packed.
Yeah. And for good reason, I think, because it is a lot of fun. So Spin Rhythm. Getting into the game. So Friday, today, 3 games released. 3, shut up. The Outer Worlds, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, and MediEvil. So we've played.
Oh, that's right.
We've played 2 out of 3 of those. Now, to quickly get out of the way, because I don't want to spend too much time on it, because I'll spend more time talking about it on Platinum Explosion coming up this following week on Tuesday. MediEvil's out. My review's up on explosionnetwork.com. I gave it an 8.5. If you played it back in the day like I did, I think it's absolutely fantastic. Filled me with nostalgia. I had a really great time. If you've never played it before, and you'll probably jump into it and you will be like, this game's dated as fuck. And I think that's 100% true. However, I think the audience for the game is the people after the nostalgia. It's not after a new audience, really. So, MediEvil. Go listen to Platt. Next week, I'll talk about it more. Go read my review, explosionnetwork.com. If you want gameplay, I've got 3 gameplay videos up on youtube.com/explosionnetwork, including the first boss, the Pumpkin King boss, which is like the middle of the game, and then I've also got the last boss of the game, including the secret cutscene if you get 100% and finish it in 4K. That's all up over there. So diving into Outer Worlds, though. So Obsidian's last game before they go completely Xbox exclusive, the Outer Worlds, out on Epic Games Store, Xbox Game Pass, PS4, and blah, 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 blah. We're both playing on Xbox via Game Pass, though, because the cheaps. I didn't even know you had an Xbox access to an Xbox till today, and you uploaded the picture on the tweet, so that was a shock to the system, but there you go. Do you want to explain that one and then give me your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, my brother had an Xbox One. He's had it for ages, and it's just been sitting in his room collecting dust while he plays Fire Emblem again and again and again. So
fair.
I said, hey, let me try that $1 trial month.
Yeah.
And I got a 2 weeks from PAX, so 6 weeks.
Got him.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I think if I'm like 3 hours in, I'm pretty much through most of the first. You get to that first city and there's a bunch of like side quests and that kind of thing, so I've been knocking out a couple of those. I've got my first companion. I'm really enjoying the humor. Like, it is set in a world that is capitalist run. Like, it is completely run by companies, and everybody's kind of okay with that, which is a weird setting.
To quickly go over the setup in case no one knows it, it's like the game literally starts with you like your character's like picked out of a ship of like cryo frozen people basically, and you create your character, and then this other character kind of breaks you out and then sets you free on a mission to save the galaxy, to
help save all those other frozen people,
colonists.
So you crash land on a planet, squishing the person that you're meant to meet.
Yep, that was good.
And then helpful. And it feels like space Fallout. It's hard not to see the Fallout connection. Obviously, the team did Fallout New Vegas. There isn't it. I thought the system, the slowdown system, was going to be more VATS like, but it's not. It's just pretty much
slow down time.
It's just slow down time. So that's fine. So I just have to be a little bit better at shooting stuff. But again, I'm enjoying it. Just some of the things people say, like the first person you meet in this city is a gravedigger for the town, and you have to go collect fees for him because everybody has to pay for their own grave, which I guess they technically have to do anyway, but in real life.
I was going to say, someone pays for your grave in real life. You don't pay for it. Well, I mean,
it's like a property thing.
But,
yeah. But then it turns out that, I guess spoilers a little bit, but one of the people who they're paying for is committed suicide. And they're like, "Oh, this is a crime. It's not suicide. It's property damage. It's a form of vandalism.
What, to kill yourself?
Because their life is not. Their life is property to the company that they're committed to. So, yeah, it's got all this weird, wacky stuff.
Dark humor.
I'm enjoying it so far, but again, we've barely scratched the surface. So it's hard to give too much of an opinion. The gunplay is not fantastic. It's not like, obviously, I'm just coming off Borderlands, which has got really, really good gunplay, but this doesn't feel as good. I enjoyed I think the system is set up a bit better. I don't know I can't remember in Fallout whether the more often you use something, the better you become at it. That's not a thing in Fallout, is it? No,
not from memory.
Like if you keep picking locks, then you get up
for lock
in
picking and
lockpicking.
stuff, but not for guns and stuff. I don't think.
Yeah, not for guns and that kind of thing. Yeah, so that's a thing that's in the game, which is good because obviously the more you use something, the more better you get at it. So yeah. I'm enjoying it. I think the systems are all good. Again, I just want to finish this second ago, keep playing.
All right, well, I was about to say the main point. The thing is, like, obviously, because we're recording this day of release, it's like no one expects us to have fucking. We didn't get early access to this one, so we're diving in day of release. We don't have much to say. But like you're keen to go back, so that's the most important aspect, I think, of the conversation. Obviously, what kind of character did you create at the start? Because I'll say, like, I spent probably 15 minutes or so mucking around, having a look through all different options and this sort of stuff, because you got different the way your character could look. But then also, what did you spec your character out as? Like, what was the main focus of your skill points? Do you remember?
No, it's like pretty evenly spread out. I think I put stuff in everything except strength, and then I put extra in dexterity, I think. And then I think I initially boosted like tech and just intelligence and that kind of stuff, like talking stuff as well. So
this is what my general rule.
I feel like the skill points get chucked at you. Like you get 10 skill points each time, and then it's for the whole grouping.
Yeah, but that's because your skill points, your levels or whatever, they start around like 30-ish or something, like somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And then it says that you're chucking them into the groupings until they get to 50. And then once it gets to 50, you're then going to level them up separately to 100 each.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a fair bit of points to chuck around once you boil down to how many points
just to get you started, I think, which is a good thing.
My thing with these games is I when I did my character at the start, in all these games, Fallout, whatever, if I have the option and I get to spec out my character a little bit at the start, I always put as many points as I can into intelligence or speech or whatever is like persuasion and all that sort of stuff, which is what I did here. I put 3 points and maxed out my persuasion, speech sort of stuff, and then I kind of put 1 point into this, 1 point into that, and 1 point into that. But I always find it, especially with these games when they start, it's like if you can like barter people to save money and like get out stuff easier, I always just find it like super helpful just to be able to talk my way out of stuff. And even at the start of the game, straight away, the first person I meet, I'm like talking them out of this. Next person I meet, talking, I'm like, you know, and you get XP from it as well. It's like every time it's like Fallout does the whole thing every time you
lie, you get XP.
Yeah, every time you successfully lie or persuade or whatever, like Fallout like pops up, gives you 15 XP. I'll say with the gunplay, like you said, I would say that gunplay isn't great. However, considering the game is not a first-person shooter, like I wouldn't call this a first-person shooter.
Yeah,
it's an RPG, much like Fallout is, that just happens to be told through a first-person shooter type thing. But that doesn't make it a shooter. Call of Duty is a shooter. This is an RPG first shooter. It's like the way that the game is mechanically being told through. I would say that it definitely plays a lot better than Fallout shooting, like on that level. But it's definitely not like it's not Doom or something. You know what I mean? Like it's not Fallout, but which is fine. You know, that's the thing. Like you get away with some laziness because it's like even if you land a headshot, the dude isn't going to die instantly because it's an RPG and it'll just do crit damage, and you still got to shoot him again anyway. So it's like that's just the kind of game it is. Now, my one thing, because
I will say I snuck up on a guy at the very start
with
the hammer
and stuff,
and smashed his head in, and it was very satisfying.
Oh, that's good then. So I only played like an hour. I've only just got to town because quickly did it before we jumped on record, basically. So I had opinion. My problem is that I think it looks bad on my.
Yeah, it's not graphically impressive.
Yeah, so everyone knows, I downloaded and installed an Xbox One S, and I don't think it looks very good on that. To the point where I'm very tempted to probably download and install on my PC. Now, this is the problem. I download and install on my PC. It doesn't share saves. I have to start again. I'm like, do I want to do that? But it is somewhat annoying me.
Now's the time to do it.
Yeah,
I guess.
It's definitely not 10 hours in or something like that. But I will definitely say that I've seen screenshots and videos that look a lot better. And I think this is why it was annoying me, because I saw people sharing like pictures and stuff on.
Technically, you only need to do and play it for like 5 minutes to find out if it looks better or not.
That's true. Yes. Because I've seen people posting pictures and stuff, and I looked it up. I was like, what's the difference between all the consoles here? So PS4 Pro is like 1440p. That's then upscaled to 4K, right? So PS4 Pro would probably look better than my Xbox One S. However, as much as it hurts me to say it, I'm trying to be better with my money. So I'm like, it's hard for me to justify buying it on fucking PlayStation when I can just play it on Xbox and stuff when I've already paid for it. Xbox One X is 4K straight up. PC, if you have access to 4K settings and whatever, will do 4K. So then base PS4 and Xbox One S, it seems, are the lowest forms of playing this game. And I definitely think it shows because I've seen screenshots where I'm like, that looks pretty. The version I was playing on my TV today did not look quite as good as I would have liked it to.
It looks like Fallout.
It
wasn't very pretty.
Yeah, it looks not quite as bad as Fallout, slightly above. Just above, like a little bit better above, but still not great. And if that's why I have to play it, then whatever, because honestly, you play the game more for the story and
what everything else,
just the exploration
the
and whatever.
The lowest,
yeah, the graphics are never
least
the main
important,
factor. I think the reason it was bothering most is simply because I'd seen screenshots of it looking a lot better, and I'm like,
knew it looked better somewhere else.
Yeah, and I'm like, I have somewhere else I could play it, and because I have that in the back of my mind, I'm like, should I be playing it somewhere else? You know what I mean? Like, if I didn't have another option, I would be like, well, this is how I'm playing it. There's no, I wouldn't worry about it. But it's just like, because I've got an option. I'm like, do I see how I go here? But overall, my first impressions of the game were, yes, obviously this feels very much like a Fallout in space game. It's hard to not bring that up, as you said. The gunplay is fine. All the RPG stuff seemed interesting and deep and whatever. You go to the ship. I like the AI on the ship.
The unreliable.
The unreliable. The AI on the ship is funny. The writing so far seems, as you was, straight away I was like, this seems like kind of dark humor, funny, interesting writing and characters and stuff. And then all the stuff you were just saying backs up that, like with what you're saying about the person committing suicide and whatever. So it definitely feels like a dark humor game. So I'm enjoying the writing. The writing seems good. So, and that's the thing. It's like, if I'm enjoying the writing the most, if I have to play and it doesn't look as hot shit as an Xbox One X or what a PC on the high settings, the writing is the part that's interesting me so far. If I had to pick one thing, the writing is the number one thing. The gameplay so far is just, it's fine. You know, like, it's not blowing my mind away. But that's Outer Worlds. I have Call of Duty. It's going to take about 20 days to install its 100 million gigabyte patch, so we'll talk about that next week. And that's it. So we got you 2 out of 3 though. MediEvil, cool. Outer Worlds, cool. Call of Duty, hopefully it's cool. I mean, I played the beta, so I know, like, it's fine. I'll do.
When you're dropping,
we're dropping. We're not dropping. It doesn't have Battle Royale, so I guess we're not actually dropping anymore. Thank you for joining us on the couch this week. Make sure you check out explosionnetwork.com for all of the shows, reviews, news, articles, much more. Review Arcade Couch on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser to help out the show, or simply share it on social media, or share it with your friends. You can follow Explosion Network on Twitter at ExplosionPod, and you can join our Discord at explosionnetwork.com/Discord. You can follow me on Twitter at Vivaladil, Vivaladil. You can follow Ash on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEYHABLEY, and we'll see you here next week, same time, same couch.